Hi, this is James Alex from Beach Slang, and you're listening to Collision on Voice FM.
You're from Philadelphia, and your music, it's kind of a bit punk, pop, beachy sounding, and your name is Beach Slang, but I don't think of beaches around Philadelphia.
Exactly, yeah. I'm originally from Rhode Island, like a bit north and like the New England sort of section of America, right? So it's like, yeah, I grew up a couple blocks from like the beach, and after my parents did move down to Pennsylvania, we would still like sort of spend summers up there with grandparents and family and stuff. So yeah, even though I'm sort of was urbanized at a pretty young age, I still got to be a little beach rat, every summer and stuff. So I sort of had the best of both sort of growing ups, in that way.
So I guess kind of the beach represents you growing up and the slang represents your Philadelphia.
I think so, yeah. It sort of falls out that way. I have that sort of like, that sort of dreamy beach existence, and then that sort of like gritty sort of city kind of thing. And I think that sort of comes through in the music, so I suppose the name is sort of representative of those two extremes of the meter, right? Yeah, and I think that sort of bleeds itself into the thing we do,
Yeah. Well, last year was the first time you actually even released any music. So have you guys only been together like 18 months or so?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, June is going to be a year of doing shows. So we're going to go out and we're going to do a run to sort of celebrate that after we record the record. So we've been a band a little bit over a year. I think we were together just a few months before we recorded the first EP. And then I moved out to California over the winter, sort of spent that time there, and then came back. Even after we started, we sort of went on a brief hiatus fairly early on, sort of figuring out what exactly we were, because at first it was just, the three of us sort of got in a room and were just sort of banging around these songs I was writing, but we really weren't sure what it was going to become. And it just felt really great, sort of immediately. And we were like, we need to sort of figure this thing out. And then, I moved back from California, and then we started doing the thing on a much more sort of full-time basis. But so I mean, we've been a band just a little over a year.
Right. And do you think I won't even ask that because, of course, you haven't figured out who you are yet, because that changes all the time anyway with the band, doesn't it?
Fair enough. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And if it stops doing that, if we feel like we know exactly who we are, be it a band or just like a human being, it's kind of like the show's over, right? It's like... Yeah. The cool thing is to sort of keep just sort of stretching out and pushing things. And it's all about, evolution, right? And evolving as long and as hard as you can. And that's kind of what we're trying to do. The thing that feels really right now is specifically, to sit down and write songs. The thing that's like really feels really right now. And, in a year from now, it might just be this other thing that like, and that's been a big sort of thing of the whole Beach Slang thing. It's just like, really super honest, right? I'm not trying to like paint anything into a corner where it's like, we've done this and now that's expected. Should the day come when like I'm not feeling that thing, be it a lyrical approach or a songwriting approach, it's like I'm not going to like fake it to sort of be like, well, this is what's expected, right? Because I think that honesty is sort of the thing, with how things have happened relatively quickly for us, we've definitely had sort of those step back sort of conversations with one another, and we're just like, we try to figure it out intellectually, how it's happening, which is an impossible thing to do. But I mean, one of the things we sort of say to ourselves is like that sort of honest, just sort of tearing it open and doing the thing. And I think, in a world or in the industry where like things have been sort of plasticized and auto-tuned and all of that kind of stuff, it's refreshing for people to hear just like, the guitar might be a little out of tune or, butchering a chord on stage or those kind of things, but it just dials up the humanness of it all. And I think like that, that's been missing in rock and roll for sure.
Yeah. Well, you did mention that this has all happened very quickly for you. Have you been in other bands before this, or is this like your first official band?
Oh, yeah, no. We've all sort of like, we've been cutting our teeth in like other bands for a bit. So, yeah, it wasn't like we're just, this is like the first thing we've done by any stretch. We sort of like, and that was kind of the cool thing, right? It's like we learned how to be a band before this kind of happened like this. So it's like in other bands, doing like the rough tours or like understanding, you go in and you kind of do your day job and then you rehearse at night and then you like just all this sort of like blue collar labor that comes along with being like a working band, like a starting band and really, really working hard. Like nobody was surprised by that, right? So we all came in here sort of with very managed expectations, a super understanding of what it means to like be in a working band. It's made it a lot easier. And we just sort of all come from that same sort of cultural or like aesthetic sort of viewpoint. So the marriage between what was the three of us, we've now expanded to be like a quartet, is just comes very, very naturally. I mean, it's super easy. And I think that has to do with sort of the time we've put into the scene already. You know, it's paying dividends now for sure.
Well, yeah, like you had an idea of how to run it and what you wanted in a band now.
Absolutely. It feels like a really very self-sufficient kind of thing. It's all very DIY. Like, you know, we do all the art ourselves. We really kind of keep it, we're like this little cottage industry, you know, and that all comes from like having given it a go, you know, several times before. So, yeah.
Yeah. And well, why not? I mean, bands are creative people. And I think actually the fact that more of them are doing their own artwork and even sometimes like the publicity and that, it all requires creative thinking.
Oh, for sure. And I think it's great, right? Because it's like, you know, who understands the thing you're trying to say better than you? Whether you're trying to say that, you know, lyrically or visually or, you know, however you're trying to get that thing out there and get it across. You know, and that's not to say like you don't have teams around you and they work really hard and they do like an amazing job, right? But it's like certainly no one can get inside your head better than you. Like you're already there, right? So I think it's great that bands are sort of becoming that much more rounded out sort of entities now and like understanding they can really sort of hold the reins of their fate and, you know, curate what they look and sound like without sort of too many strange hands kind of getting in the way.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, having a team around you and also expanding to a fourth member, you have been signed to Cooking Vinyl Records. Did the fourth member come before the signing or is that something you've done since then?
Yeah, well, to be honest, it was probably right around the same time. He started off just as a live guitarist. We did a full U.S. tour with the band Cursive, and that was the first tour he did with us, and it just went really splendidly. So it was like between the Cursive tour and our first European tour is when the Cooking Vinyl thing happened. So he was sort of like just transitioning between live guitarist and official member. It was all sort of happening all at the same time. So it was a really cool, exciting time, and he is a super perfect fit. I mean, honestly, I can't imagine Beach Slang without him now. So.
Wow. That's really good. It's like all the atoms have come together to create a great entity.
Yeah, it's really like, you know, it's not lost on me how difficult that is to find, right? I mean, it's like, you know, you can walk down the street in Philadelphia and trip over someone who plays an instrument like every 10 feet, right? But to find four people that have that sort of chemistry and synergistic quality to it, that's really, really difficult to find. There's a real good magic sort of hanging over this one, right? The four of us coming together, it really, really does feel very right, you know? And I feel really lucky about that.
Yeah. And as we mentioned, you have only been doing live shows in that, not even quite 12 months.
Right.
And you have only had 2 releases, but you've actually combined those 2 releases for your first Australian release?
That's right, yeah. Yep, it's both of our American EPs, one sort of per side on vinyl, and then, just those 8 songs on the CD. And I quite love it. I thought it was a great idea. I mean, Cooking Vinyl came to us with that idea and sort of immediately fell in love with it. Because, you know, we would be getting emails and things from people, if it's in Australia or Germany or England or wherever it might be. And it was just like, you know, like sort of international shipping costs. It was just like devastating, right? Which was really encouraging to me. They wanted more than just like the digital format, you know? So I'm a sucker for like, you know, holding a record and sort of leafing through it and having that experience. So so when Cooking Vinyl approached us about the thing, it was an obvious no-brainer, right? I mean, I really was flipped out. I was so excited. Yeah, and now it's happening. The record's out and things seem to be going really well. And it's really fantastic.
Yeah, well, it is awesome that you can get Broken Thrills on vinyl too, because vinyl's having a resurgence in Australia at the moment.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people who are going to be excited that they can actually get it on vinyl in Australia. So I'm assuming then it is actually going to be distributed through shops. It won't be just ordering it. You'll be able to go into a shop and buy it.
Oh, correct. Yeah, that's my understanding, yeah.
Yeah. And then is there any chance that, say, over the next 12 months, that live show might find its way down to Australia?
Oh, I'm certain of it. I mean, I'm being promised that it's happening. And trust me, I've been like tugging at the shirts of like our managers and booking agents to just be like, well, this means we have to go down there now, right? Because I cannot wait. I mean, I just can't wait. So it's absolutely going to happen is what I'm being told. So.
Yeah.
You know, I've already got half a suitcase packed. I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready, you know.
Oh, I'd wait a couple of months if I were you until spring at least.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, we just did when we were over in Europe, we did a festival date with Smith Street Band.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and they were like, oh, yeah, come over in early 2016, right? And it's like, because that'll be summer in Australia. We were like, okay, sounds good.
They do so well on their live tours and that too, so if you tour with them, that'd be awesome.
Oh, that would be absolutely incredible.
Yep. I will actually tell people that they can find you on facebook.com/Beach Slang or beachslang.com. And you have the mini album Broken Thrills, which is available now in Australia on vinyl and CD. And hopefully we will see you in Australia very soon. And it has been really good to talk to you. And I hope we can have a chat when you are coming down here again.
Oh, absolutely. That'd be wonderful. I look forward to it.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Cool. Thanks so much. You as well.
Bye.
Bye-bye.